Hello ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy Top Hat here. The world of Street Fighter has featured many interesting characters over the years, but perhaps no fighter from that universe has had more ups and downs than that of Cody. This athlete was one of the original heroes who would appear as a playable fighter in 1989's Final Fight, a classic arcade beat 'em up from Capcom, but since his original debut would go on to appear as a selectable character in a number of Street Fighter games too. One will probably have noticed that in a great number of these games he shows up in action fighting in a black and white striped prison jumpsuit, leading many to question how this man, previously portrayed as one of the good guys, was now being represented to be a convict. So let's explore this further. In this video we are going to look back at the creation of this character, his development from year to year, and how everything would go wrong for one of Metro City's greatest citizens. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the insane story of Cody. Yeah! It is no secret that gameplay-wise Final Fight, the brawler video game starring Cody, Guy and Mike Haggar, would be inspired by Technos Japan's Double Dragon games, resulting in perhaps the most refined beat-em-up of the time period as of yet. Both Final Fight and later Streets of Rage would both be inspired visually by the 1984 movie Streets of Fire, an American feature length that would mix various movie genres together, incorporating elements of retro 1950s woven into then current 1980s themes. As for Cody, it is said that he was inspired by the movie similarly named Tom Cody, the movie's main protagonist. Both Codys would appear as formidable street brawlers who are handy around a knife, ready to wage war on local gangs in an attempt to save their love interests. In the Final Fight Cody's case, his girlfriend Jessica was kidnapped by a group known as the Mad Gear Gang as an act of blackmail and revenge against the Metro City Mayor, Mike Haggar. Jessica's father had been trying his best to clean up crime rates in the city that had reached an all-time high, managing to majorly crack down on crime in the vicinity. With Mike finding out about the kidnapping, rather than giving in to their demands, he instead became furious and decided he wanted to take it to the streets himself and fight them on a personal level, but obviously he needed some additional manpower to be successful. In doing so, he recruits Jessica's boyfriend Cody, who already happened to be an expert in fighting, along with his sparring partner Guy, who was a ninja in training. On this journey in this iconic brawler, Cody appears wearing his hand wraps, a white t-shirt, blue jeans and tennis shoes, whereas part of the legendary trio is successful in defeating the Mad Gear Gang and saving Jessica in the process. In this game and supporting material, Cody is depicted as a good-natured individual with a powerful sense of justice and a strong love for his girlfriend. Even if he can be combative and reckless at times, he is ultimately a positive force to be around. When Mayor Mike Haggar and Cody would first meet prior to the events of the first game, it is said that Mike saw the young man as a troublemaker more than anything else, and was displeased that he had started dating his daughter. The struggle that Mike and Cody would go through together in the 1989 game would lead to Mike warming up to him, learning to view him with respect and as a good person, even going as far as to approve of him and Jessica's relationship. After all, both he and Cody had risked their very lives for her safety. Moving on to Final Fight 2, which would see a 1992 release, Cody would miss out on this beat-em-up, with, according to the game's story, him being away enjoying a vacation with Jessica, leaving Mike to deal with a different kidnapping, this time without his help. The next game to feature a character from Final Fight would be Street Fighter Alpha Warrior's Dreams, released in June of 1995. This title would feature Guy as a playable character, a fighter who was also notably absent from Final Fight 2 due to reportedly being on a training journey. Many say that this training journey is exactly what we see in Alpha. As for Cody though, he was still missing. Later that year would see the release of Final Fight 3, and you guessed it, Cody would not appear here either. Guy has returned from his training journey and teams up with Mike Haggar and some new allies to rid the city of a new threat known as the Skull Crush Gang. While not being canon to the main Final Fight and Street Fighter universe, Cody would appear alongside Guy and Haggar as one of the three selectable characters in the NES beat-em-up known as Mighty Final Fight, a chibi 8-bit reimagining of the original 1989 game story, But what was next for Cody in his mainline story? Well, gamers would finally have that question answered in 1998, when he would show up as a roster member in Street Fighter Alpha 3. Debuting in a Street Fighter title as a convicted felon, sporting an all-new look, trading in his previous wardrobe for a prison uniform and handcuffs on his wrists. This fallen hero has lost his babyface look and instead has let his stubble grow out to further represent this change in image. So seeing this depiction, it may have you wondering what happened in this man's life that would lead to such a sour turn of events. It is said that after Guy, Haggar and Cody had rescued Jessica in the very first Final Fight game, that past that point Cody would begin to regress back into his old troublemaking ways, with his relationship with Mike going on to become more rocky as a result. This ongoing behaviour as a troubled individual led to the darkest period in Cody's life as of yet, as with nothing to do with his new peaceful existence, he would opt to spend all of his free time wandering the streets looking to get into fights with any riffraff he could find. This constant day-to-day fighting would eventually lead to Cody's conviction, with him being thrown into jail. Cody's imprisonment would lead to Jessica breaking up with him and broken-hearted heading off to Europe to become a university student. In Alpha 3's story, Cody is free from prison due to managing to escape while a riot ensued. During the game, former opponent from the first Final Fight game, Relento, attempts but fails to recruit him to his private militia. His most notable fight in the game though occurs against Guy, Cody's only friend who is happy to associate with him post his imprisonment. Guy has desires to help Cody reform his wrecked life, however Cody rejects his offer to assist him back to the path of good, proclaiming he is no hero and simply lives to fight. Guy accepts that he cannot change who Cody is, and that he now lives a separate life. But after they do battle, Cody concludes that some things never change, referring to the two men's previous days of sparring together. While non-canon to the main Street Fighter and Final Fight stories, if you play through the game as Cody and manage to defeat M. Bison flees, bragging that he can't die as long as the Psycho power exists to resurrect him. At this moment, Guy becomes disappointed with Cody for not giving chase, stating the world would be devastated by Bison's evil acts. Cody states that he doesn't care, as by defeating him in combat, all excitement is already gone, and that where he has run off to is of no concern to him. Guy instead follows Bison to the Shadaloo base himself, but upon arrival is surrounded and outnumbered by the Shadaloo dolls. But in the final throes of the game, Cody makes the right choice and saves Guy, as well as tracking down Bison and destroying his Psycho drive, cockily proclaiming, "Well, I guess invincible just isn't your style, haha." Cody would next show up in the arcade versus fighting game Final Fight Revenge, that would also see a Japanese release on the Sega Saturn in the year 2000. This ugly, blocky game is chronologically set between the events of the previous Final Fight games and Cody's appearance in Street Fighter Alpha 3. This game takes place during the time frame in which he is still sporting his old white t-shirt and jeans combo look. The title features the reformation of the Mad Gear Gang, with Jessica going missing after riots occur in Metro City. In the title, neither Cody nor any of the other characters in the game are shown to be able to locate Jessica, and Cody is arrested by the corrupt police officer, Eddie E, for violent crimes he has committed against Mad Gear Gang members, with Eddie E playing an instrumental role in Cody's eventual imprisonment. While Jessica is not found in the game, according to the Street Fighter 03 secret file book, it establishes that Haggar rescues her in the events of this game, with her and Cody's relationship ending due to him going to jail. Cody's canonical story would not be picked up again until Street Fighter 4, with the series featuring a bored Cody suffering through prison life, choosing to casually break out once more. He even tells an irritated guard that he will be back soon enough. Once back in the free world, Cody spars with Guy once more and goes on to participate in fighting in the Sin tournament as a way to alleviate his existence of boredom. If a player can beat the main game as Cody and defeats Seth, the game sees Guy confront Cody once more in an attempt to see if there is any good left inside him. He outright asks him if he defeated Seth with the purpose of vanquishing a great evil for the sake of what is right. While Cody does not try and deny this, he says he only beat Seth because he was standing in his way, and that he is heading back to his prison cell where he belongs. Before we get to talking about Street Fighter V, the final point in Cody's character arc, it is worth noting that he would also show up as an important character in Final Fight StreetWise for the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox. Final Fight StreetWise is a gritty, non-canon American-made Final Fight game that was inspired by Grand Theft Auto of all things. This game is set long after the first Final Fight game, and Cody is seen in the title as being a retired Street Fighter who can no longer compete due to having arthritis in his knees. Instead though, he is still in the fighting world, coaching his younger brother Kyle in pit fights. Cody though becomes frustrated with Kyle on the basis that he does not feel Kyle focuses enough on fighting, so instead opts to begin fighting once more himself, despite his poor condition. For this to even be possible, Cody begins to become hooked on drugs, using a powerful new substance known as glow that increases his strength and relieves his aches and pains. Cody ends up becoming a drug addict, with the fighting and drug abuse becoming so out of control that a mob enforcer known as Devin Aronok takes him. This helps lay the foundations for a story featuring Kyle trying to track his lost brother down. The game has many twists and turns, with Kyle eventually finding Cody under the custody of Guy, who is trying to help Cody break his addiction. But sadly, Cody manages to break free once again, ready to go on another drug-fueled rampage. As the game draws to a close, Kyle eventually has to fight Cody, who is under the control of Father Bella, the brother of Belga, the former leader of the Mad Gear gang who Cody had killed previously. Cody is able to regain his senses at the end of the game due to snapping out of things after seeing Bella hold Kyle at gunpoint. Cody manages to tackle Bella off the side of a church. The game ends with Cody beating his addiction but claiming that due to the massive dosage he received, his knees are better than ever. As for his next actual canon appearance, this would take place in Street Fighter V, the next game in the Street Fighter story following the events of Street Fighter IV, and perhaps features some of Cody's most important character development as of yet. Cody would first show up in this game as a DLC character as part of the third season of Fighters. In between the events of Street Fighter IV and V, it would see Mike Haggar exonerating Cody of all of his crimes. It is said that despite splitting up with Mike's daughter and his troubled existence in general, that Haggar never ever lost hope of Cody one day going on to become a great man. After all, he had seen his potential that time ago, when they fought alongside each other against the Mad Gear gang. Haggar concocted a plan to relieve Cody from his life of misery, breaking bad habits and freeing him from his many demons. Not only would Mike help him achieve this, but Mr. Mike Haggar would go one step further, helping Cody to win an election and become the mayor of Metro City himself. Haggar knew deep down that Cody would not like the job, but knew he was the right man for it, due to his immense sense of justice, hugely outweighing the demons he internally struggled against. In his new job as mayor, Cody would, as expected, find a position boring and tedious, but would come up with a plan so that he could clean up Metro City of its criminal activities in person, both physically and at his desk, just like Mike Haggar did before him. In his Street Fighter V character prologue, known as the Mayor's Schedule, on a cab ride he sits alongside his assistant Marlo, who is sick and tired of him not listening to her and his general behaviour as a mayor. On this automobile journey he spots a monster truck parked illegally, so stops the cab to prevent the crime. He soon learns that it belongs to Abigail, an old Mad Gear gang member who appeared as a boss in the original Final Fight game. The two fight over the parking, with Abigail quickly recognising who he is, and is in shock that he is now the mayor. Cody informs Abigail that he wants to improve the quality of Metro City, and he can make everyone smile by taking down garbage like him. Throughout the prologue, Cody reflects on his tumultuous life full of highs and lows, getting into plenty of street fights along the way, including against Zeku, his sparring partner Guy's old master. The prologue concludes with Marlo scolding Cody for his street fighting, being particularly perturbed that he damaged one of the city's street lights. Like many characters who appear in Street Fighter games, Cody would make a few crossover fighting game appearances over the years as well, but not to the prolific same degree that many other fighters seem to have done. This would include Cody and Jessica showing up together in a small stage appearance in Marvel Superheroes vs Street Fighter. And speaking of appearing in stage backgrounds, they can be found in Street Fighter Alpha 2 as well. He can also be seen in the background of the New York stage in Capcom Final Evolution, and can be picked up as a spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. As a playable character, he would show up as a DLC fighter in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, teaming up with Cody, and would also be playable in the Final Fight remake known as Final Fight Zero, released on the Game Boy Advance. What is most interesting about this one is that apart from playing as Cody's 1989 sprite, players can also unlock his Street Fighter Alpha 3 prison outfit too, which is a lovely little modern touch that would breathe a little more life into an old game. Elsewhere, Cody would show up in the Street Fighter Udon comics and even some of the Street Fighter cartoons, with his biggest role being in the episode titled Final Fight. This particular episode adapts the plot of a Final Fight game, but sees Guy and Cody befriending Ken and Ryu to take on the Mad Gear Gang and save Jessica, with Mike Haggar joining the fray in this cool episode along the way. But other than that just about rounds up all of Cody's major appearances over the years. A character with perhaps more ups and downs in his life than any other fighter in the Street Fighter universe. From a hostage saver, to the convict, to the mayor of Metro City, nobody can ever claim that Cody's life has not been eventful. So all in all, I have enjoyed putting the pieces together to fully tell the extent of his tale. If you enjoyed this content, I have plenty more biopic style videos covering the history of various characters from the Street Fighter universe, so why not check out my Street Fighter playlist when you are done watching this video. If you are new here, please do not forget to like this video, hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell to never miss one of my uploads. I have a video debuting this week covering the Super Nintendo launch around the world, which is already available to this channel's fine patrons. So if you are fantastic enough to back this channel over there, you can watch that 23-minute long video now. Speaking of Patreon backers, huge thank yous go out to Sebastian Velez, The Murder of Crows, Carl Johnson, Heyo Paulo Lopez, Nostalgia Collector, Ben Harradine, Corey Imarsh Sr., Capcom vs SNK, Rowan Dinch, Evan Border, Philip Nanth, Azarakai, Joaquin Varela, Michael Cullix, Ego, Jordan Durant, Angel Light 85, Ian Boyle, Nick Daniels, Princess Zana, Daniel Daly, Computer Man, House of a Ted, Gary Pinkett, EC Professor, Johnny Holly, August Piazza, Justin Wang, Hermes Gonzalez, Instant Gratification Monkey, Man Shovel, James Bishop, JB, Michael Hall, Wesley Sanghi, Drew Peacock, Langston Miller, Noob, Sarah Powell, Vladimir Renee, Marvin Liga, TOG Driver, Adrian Hannington, Bernard NG, Dan Van Dammit, Louis Viant, John Bates, David Bow, Chris Fisk, Mike Bruno, Rick67, Antonio Rodriguez, Craig Jenkins, Retroverse.com, Casey Wright, Sin Spaces, Punk Toast, Gunther Hendricks and everybody else who backs what I do over on the Patreon platform. Thank you for helping me so much over the years. It's very much appreciated. Yeah. Cheerio!